Hello, the internet of the internet. Welcome back to another One Piece video. And today we are going to be diving into one of the biggest upcoming events in the One Piece story, the Fall of Elbaf. We are going to break down how Luffy arrival, the Holy Knight, Shanks, and even Loki could change everything of Elbaf forever. And trust me, you don't want to miss this theory, because this theory will make sense. This theory, I'm telling you, this won't be a theory, this will be a spoiler of how Elbaf will end, because I have figured out how Oda will make Elbaf into one of the biggest hardcore arc in One Piece history. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please smash the like button and please subscribe, and let's get straight into the video. Yes, you have seen the title. This is how Elbaf will end, and in this video I'm going deep into how I believe in my theories of how Elbaf will end. And how I think Elbaf will end is that this arc will set up Luffy face Shanks. This arc will set up how Shanks and Luffy's relationship will come to blows. And we must remember, Elbaf is Shanks' territory, and that's the main thing that we need to keep in our mind. This is Elbaf is Shanks' territory, and that's going to be the main key to this theory. But before we continue with that, before I say how I believe this will set up Shanks and Luffy, make me first talk to you guys about the beginning, how Elbaf is going. Then I will lead you guys to the theory of the video. So let's start off that Oda have been planning this arc for a long time, and Oda have set up this arc a very long time ago, years ago, decades ago. Oda to set up this arc ever since later regarding pre-time skip, and I believe Oda is going to do something huge in this arc, because Oda, he been waiting for this arc. He have been waiting to get to this point, and us the fans have also been waiting to get to this point, and we kind of been hyping up this arc to be a massive arc, and which it is still a massive arc, but I feel like there's still rooms, and Oda still have some few cards in his sleeve that he can still do to make Elbaf an even bigger arc than Wano possibly. And in Elbaf, we've been saying, the community is saying, since Luffy is a Yonko, Zoro basically a Yonko himself. Not a Yonko, but Zoro is a very powerful human being. Sanji is very powerful. The Straw Hats are very powerful, and the Straw Hats are in a good relationship with the Giants, with Bogey and Dory, and all the Giants and the Straw Hats are actually friends, and they're actually working well together. There's no bad blood. So who's going to be the big bad of Elbaf? People have been saying Loki is going to be the big bad of Elbaf, because Loki killed his father and he's pure evil, and Loki is just a demon, and that's why Shanks said prison Loki in the first place. And Loki will be a problem because it took all the giants to stop Loki. Yes, Loki is a very powerful human being, it's a very powerful giant, but I believe a Yonko Luffy with Zoro, with Sanji, with Jinbei, and with the other giants could easily, not easily, but they can be able to put down Loki back into prison. So Loki, also so far, Oda have been, making Loki so he is a very evil guy, he is a bad guy, but it seemed like Oda is going to give Loki a redemption arc, and it seemed like Loki is not the real demon that the Giants is making like Loki to look out as. And I don't feel like Loki is going to be the villain. I don't feel like Oda that introduced a very powerful and very hype character to One Piece just for Luffy to defeat Loki easily for one arc, because we are in a late game, we are in the end game arc. So I don't feel like Oda would make a villain just for Luffy to defeat in one arc. And if Loki is giving Luffy and the Giants and Zoro and Sanji problems And Loki's by himself, by the way. I don't feel like that's that's not big enough for Elbaf. And I feel like Loki's getting a redemption arc. And let's look at the other, could possibly be villains. Let's look at the Holy Knights. Yes, there are villains. Yes, they are evil. Yes, the Strats will face against the Holy Knights. But remember, the leader of the Holy Knight, and could possibly be the only Holy Knight member that could fight against Luffy, fight against Zoro, fight against Sanji, and that was Samrock. And remember, Samrock is not on Elbaf anymore. He went back to the Holy Lands to do other stuff. So if the leader of the Holy Knight, Samrock's not there, and Samrock, they left some few other Holy Knights on the island, but I don't believe that. I don't have faith that the Holy Knight member could beat the Straits, could beat Scopper, could beat the Giants, could beat Luffy, could even beat Loki. So I feel like they will be wasting the Holy Knights just to take a massive L, and the Holy Knights will be at the end in the massive war arc, and they will be important. And why would you give the Holy Knights member a massive L right now, even though you are still going to use the Holy Knights member, some of them, in the end of the series against Shanks with Samrock, against Dragon, against the Revolution Army, and Dragon have been lating and been saying that the Holy Knights is not people that want to go easy on, and it seems like the Revolution main problem is the Holy Knight. So you don't want to ruin the Holy Knight's name of losing to Luffy, and especially now because they will be endgame. So save that. And yeah, I don't see them defeating them. But other than that, there have been other theories that Blackbeard was so up on the island, but here's my problem with that theory. Why would Blackbeard go to Shanks' territory? Okay, yes, the theory is that Blackbeard will go to Luffy, steal his rope permit, and leave. But why would Blackbeard go fight Luffy on Shanks' territory, even though Shanks is going out of his ways looking for Blackbeard? That's the main thing. Blackbeard is run away from Shanks. So why would Blackbeard go to his territory, could possibly run into Shanks and face Luffy? And Blackbeard, he probably know the relationship between Shanks and Luffy. So why would you risk the fact that you might face two different Yonkos? That's dumb. And even for Blackbeard, sometimes he can be dumb, and other times he can be a very smart man. And I just feel like Blackbeard would not do that, because you would see how dumb that is. And even there's some theories that the Marines might, like Aka Inu, will get so upset that Kizaru could not stop the Stray, that Aka Inu himself would take Fujitora and Greenbow and go to Elbaf and go finally defeat the Straits. That's another idiot, stupid theory, because Aka Inu, he's a fleet admiral, he's smart, and if we go to another Yonko territory to go kill a different Yonko that's on Shanks' territory, that's dumb. Why would a Marine fleet go to another Yonko territory for not even going to fight that Yonko, and they're going to fight a different Yonko? And remember, if you fight against one Yonko, even the commander, you could possibly start a war. So if Aka Inu go to that territory, you could possibly start a war between the Strats and the Shanks and the Red Hair Shanks crew, because you went to his territory and you fought against Luffy's crewmates and commanders. So you could possibly start two different wars, and that's just stupid. That's dumb. Another theory that is Buggy and Crossguard will go to Shanks' territory to go steal the rob Pomingard. Again, the same thing. Why would Buggy go to Shanks' territory? And Mihawk would not allow Buggy to do that, because Mihawk knows that Strat is there on Shanks' territory, and Mihawk knows Shanks and Luffy's relationship, because Mihawk, Mikote, that saw Shanks the bounty between Luffy and Zoro. So could hint that Shanks did talk about Luffy to Mihawk, so knowing that relationship, Mihawk would not let Buggy do that, and Crocodile, being very smart, he would not do that. So then who's going to be the big bad of Elbaf? Who's going to be the big bad, and what will happen? What is the ending of Elbaf? Well, here's my theory. My theory is that Shanks will be the villain of Elbaf. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you look at everything, and I feel like we are forgetting this, Elbaf is Shanks' territory, and Shanks is a Yonko, and he need to protect his territory, right? So here's my theory. Luffy is also a Yonko. So Luffy being a Yonko, he took all his commanders, Zoro, Sanji, Nami, Robin, Usopp, Brook, Jinbei, Frankie, he took all of them to Shanks' territory. Now even from there on, that's very disrespectful to Shanks. It's like saying Big Mom took her whole commander and she went to Elbaf. Shanks will also be upset because Big Mom's a Yonko. Okay, let's look at Kaido. If Kaido do that, Shanks will be also upset. But you guys might be saying Shanks and Luffy, they are very tight. They have like a father and a son, dynamic. What I say about that, you must remember, Luffy's not a small pirate anymore. He's a freaking emperor of the sea. He's a Yonko, and Luffy's not acting like a Yonko because he's still going to different island and doing whatever you want. And now here come the main theory. I believe the Holy Knights, seeing Luffy's here, seeing Straw Hat is here, seeing that the Straw Hats and the Giants are in amazing, walking friendly alliance. I feel like also, and especially so far, Oda have been shown that Crosscode is actually very smart. They're very smart, and they think everything that they're doing, every move they do, they think about it, and they think, how can this make us stronger? How can this make us win? So I feel like the Holy Knights seeing that they can't win. There's no chance in hell that they can win. You know what they could do? They could all come together. They can bring more Holy Knights members to the island and do a new thing and come up with a plan of where they don't care about anything and they just try to destroy the Atom Tree as much as possible. Now hear what I'm going to say. They trying to destroy the Atom Tree, and maybe that guy that have the nightmare fruit, he that make everybody's nightmare come to life. So now the Strats must deal with that. But when they're dealing with their nightmares, the Holy Knights are destroying the Atom Tree, burning the tree down. But who saved the day is Loki. Loki saved the day, saving the Atom Tree, but the Atom Tree is still very damaged. The island itself is also very damaged because of all the nightmares going crazy. The Holy Knights is destroying towns, houses, like just destroying stuff. So you have that, and Loki saved the day. And in return, the Elbaf is grateful, but they still want Loki to go to prison because they still do not trust Loki. But Luffy, being a kind man, he sees Loki as a friend, and especially now since we see Loki and Luffy are eating together, they're talking together, and now Loki to save Elbaf, the island, and not only Loki to save them, he'd also help his crew, the Shreds. So Luffy will see Loki as a good guy, as an alliance. So then Luffy and Loki come up and they talk, and Luffy asks Loki to join his crew, but Loki say no. But Loki is happy to join Straw Hat's alliance and becoming officially part of the Grand Fleet. So Loki leaves the island now. So now it's just the Straw Hats on the island celebrating and just eating as always. But the Giants, they let Luffy make Loki escape, but they're still upset about that Luffy to make Loki's escape the island. But here comes Shanks. So now make me put you in Shanks' position. Another Yonko with his whole crew went to your territory and he caused heavy damage to the island. And by the way, guys, they can do a thing where the Holy Knights and like everywhere, the whole Holy Knights is blaming the Strats for the damage. So you know how the government have so much power when it comes to the newspaper. They can easily spin the narrator, spin the news where the Holy Knights and the government is saying on the newspaper that Monkey D. Luffy, the Yonko that destroyed half of Shanks' territory. Not only that, he let Loki escape the island and Loki becoming officially part of Luffy's grand fleet. So if Shanks is reading that newspaper, he's seeing Luffy, another Yonko, destroying half of his island, destroying the Atom Tree, letting Loki escape and Loki joining his grand fleet. So Shanks will be upset. Of course Shanks will be upset, but maybe Shanks don't want to do anything about it because Shanks still care about Luffy and you remember Luffy is his guy. Luffy is his guy, but Ben Beckman and Yasop put their foot down and tell Shanks, you're also a Yonko. And if one pirate walk over you, and it doesn't matter if it's the Warlord, if it's Mihawk, if it's Luffy, if one pirate walk over you, then this would cause an effect where other pirates are not respecting you and now they're taking chances on your territory. And we see with Ben Beckman, when Kid was burning down Shanks' territory, what did Ben Beckman done? Ben Beckman just shoot half of Kid's arm off. And what happened when Luffy's friend Barto was destroying Shanks' territory island? What did Yasop done? Yasop did destroy his ship, even though Shanks the late Barto escape. When Bartolomeo did escape, Shanks let him leave, but then Yasop say that does not work with me, and he destroyed that ship, and possibly killing him. So you don't think that the Red Hill pirate would take heavy offense of that and say, Shanks, you need to do something about this? And Shanks is also upset himself, being another Yonko, being a pirate, and Shanks feeling disrespectful. Shanks feel like Luffy's a spit on his name, and now Shanks is really upset. Wolfie's crew been upset, but at the same time they don't want to do anything about it because that's Luffy. That's the same Luffy that they basically risen up, and they still care about Luffy, but it's the fact that Luffy did disrespect them, and they can't let this go. And Luffy hearing from the newspaper that Shanks killed Barto, destroying the ship, that could also make Luffy upset because Shanks has hurt one of his friends. So that's why I think that how Elbaf will end. Shanks arriving on Elbaf, seeing the damage, seeing the newspaper, seeing Luffy. I feel like Shanks will be upset and take heavy, like, just be upset on Luffy and disappointed on Luffy. While on the other end, Luffy's also upset that Shanks did basically hurt Barto, his friend. And that's how I feel like Elbaf will end. I feel like Elbaf will be like a Water 7 / Ennis Lobby situation, where is one big arc split into two small arcs. I feel like Elbaf will be the Water 7 and Ennis Lobby will be the next arc. Not, Ennis Lobby, but a different arc combined into one. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's how I see Elbaf ending. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please like the video and please subscribe. Goodbye.